What's up, guys? Welcome to Levity Games, and we're going to be diving into the new and improved Yubel deck featuring the Millennium Engine. It's what I used to climb all the way to Master 1 this season, and it was phenomenal. I have to say, I think it's the best way to play Yubel, and I'm excited to even try it in the TCG. Last season I ran Yubel with a Kashtira engine, and while it had some strong points, it wasn't perfect. So you can see here at my deck list, I will tell you that the pros of this was it was great extension and disruption and recursion with Birth from the Grave. Especially against decks like Tempai, Unicorn was a lifesaver in banishing their, what's it called? Their Bident Dragon. There we go. Banishing that Bident Dragon on turns 1 and 2 basically left them with not much to do. The cons that I have to say was you're still stuck to your normal summon, and if that gets disrupted, it's really hard to push forward sometimes. So you're focused on Dark Beckoning Beast and Lotus. You'll also see if you do want to play this list, if you really like cash, you can run the 3 maps, which increases the starter count, and you can see that all of my decks, I typically run at 44 for Yubel, mainly because they play a lot of bricks, and this allows you to kind of push past that and play more hand traps and create more interaction and less brick drawing. So this season, I switched things up and I ran the Millennium version of Yubel, and it made a huge difference. I climbed to Master 1, and here's what worked. First off, my 44 card sweet spot. It allowed me to play more hand traps and starters while still hitting that ratio, so I didn't brick as often. It was also made me super consistent going second, and the extra Millennium starters helped keep the deck fluid without overloading it with bricks. Alright, so how does this work? The core concept of the Millennium Engine is that it generates 3 bodies on the field without consuming the normal summon. This not only enables seamless access to the Fiendsmith engine, which then transitions into the Yubel engine, but also ensures that if the plays get interrupted at any stage, you can pivot into alternative combo lines without being entirely shut down. So this engine is built out of 3 cards. You have Millennium Golem, Synjin, and the Millennium Field Spell. Each of these cards can initiate the Millennium combo line by summoning the necessary monster onto the field. Once you establish the 2 Millennium-based monsters, Snake-Eyed Doom Dragon can summon itself from the extra deck, giving you the crucial 3rd body on the field. At this point, you can transition into Moon, a key step that enables further plays, whether that be summoning Yubel or extending into additional disruptions. Alright, so the first combo we're going to go over is the Lotus combo. So a key point to this combo is that you're not making Varudras at the end board. So that means you can make a Phantom of Yubel at the earliest convenience, which will be right over here. So once you see that I summon out Yubel, I'm able to make this. So I didn't hit my 5th summon, so this kind of insulates from Nibiru. So you're just following the normal Yubel combo line, and then once we get out all our pieces, we're going to move into the Fiendsmith line. So this is kind of always the way you want to go about this. You're typically going to access your Fiendsmith line first, and then the rule of thumb is if you already have access to your Yubel engine, you always go into Engraver and then immediately into Yamas. So you can see here I'm accessing my Yama line. This is kind of setting everything up because I can pull Engraver later and also use Fiendsmith Track once I get them to hand to pull back into my Fiendsmith line for my Omni Negates. So the way I do this is I run the, not the Escaped, but the Chamber, mainly because this allows me to get full effect without cluttering my extra deck and trying to play around getting Rage back on the board. So I'm able to get Yama's Revive, I'm able to get Rage's Add to Hand, and this kind of helps me extend further for one less disruption, but I'm making a lot more in the end. As you'll see at the end of this combo, I can get quite a few interruptions on the board. So here's a little secret. A lot of people will just end on Desi and Phantom, but if you go into Muckraker, it allows you to kind of gain a little bit more protection against destruction things since Tempai runs so rampant. So you're able to do that, and also gives you additional bodies to access. So saving Engraver's effect allows me to make sequence and get that additional body on before I send them. So again, maximizing every effect that I possibly can. So Here's another little secret is once you get this, you have tracked in the grave, and this allows you an additional level 6 body with Lacrima. So which always allows easy access to Caesar. So I always take sequence first before I activate Muckraker's effect, just so I actually don't click anything and mess up my whole line. So here you go, you end up on Caesar, Desi, and Phantom with Rage in the Grave, a ton of interruptions, and I still have 3 cards in hand. So in this one, we're starting with the Millennium line to kind of show you how that can bridge into all of your engines. I'm actually not going to cover the Dark Beckoning Beast line because it's very similar, because ultimately you're 3 bodies on the board, and that's all that matters. You don't really use Spirit Gates if you don't have that additional body, so it all ends up the same. So as you see, I'm summoning out each of the pieces. I am going into my Fiendsmith line. And the reason I'm doing this and keeping the card in hand is because I can use Requiem's effect to attach to Engraver. And then that gives me my 2 monster cards in my Spell and Trap Zone to summon the Doom's Dragon. So again, this gives me follow-up. I have Sinjin in hand for follow-up next turn if I need to. Just getting additional bodies, or Beatstick because he's solid in his attack stat. So again, getting those 3 bodies allows me to go into sequence. And then this, I'm using Aerial Eater. You can also use Beatrice at this point. Since you haven't committed your normal summon, it's interesting in that the Golem is a level 6. So then you can make Beatrice without using sequence. And this just helps set up so if you can't get to your fusion, it's much easier to do this than get to track. So I'll typically do that, but since I'm practicing with Aerial Eater, you're going to see that here. So just like the old Yubel combos, you're accessing Lotus with Muckraker, summoning this out. Now always remember you're locked into Fiends, so Varudras is out of the question. So I'm not sure if I did it in this combo, but you can see that you can access Phantom immediately. It gets a little weirder with Aerial Eater because you want those high-level Fiend bodies in the grave to resurrect, as you'll see later in this combo, but I went for Phantom here. You don't want to usually banish Spirit because that can help push your combos further later in the game. But and if you banish Yubel and Incarnate, then that's much easier to recover because when you destroy Spirit or Yubel, they all recur out of the grave or banish or deck. So as you kind of see with the Lotus combo, it's almost similar. Except that I used Muckraker's effect already. So again, did that Engraver line, went to the Yama line, and here I am about to pop Rage with Shavara. So for this one, since I have to get tracked to fuse, I need to get 3 Light Fiends on the field, so that's where this is going to come in with Yama. You always put sequence because otherwise you might accidentally banish it because you just have so few Light Fiends in your grave at the moment. So normally you would add Lyri, it was already in my hand. So I'm just simulating that I grabbed him and discarded him, summoning him onto the field. So again, getting that 3rd Light Fiend on the field. Shavara's effect sets the chamber. So again, you need to get Lyri back into the grave to summon Engraver because you used them for Aerial Eater. So again, unlike Lotus, you don't end on Caesar, but you still get 6 disrupts and you still have 3 cards in hand. So again, and this is all without using your normal summon, which I have to stress because you can just throw down a normal summon and that can extend it further, possibly getting out Caesar and things like that. So for this combo, you're going to see me using Throne to add Lotus, and you're going to see how one additional body can take the whole combo to a new level. So again, doing the normal Lotus line. So I added Lotus in hand because I already had Squirmer in hand, but normally you would add Squirmer. So here we are getting that additional body in hand, summoning out Incarnate. So I tend to go immediately into Moon before summoning Squirmer. And then you can access your Phantom. Again, I didn't access Phantom immediately because I needed those bodies engraved, and you need Spirit to go into Varudras reliably. So once I get Phantom on, I'll continue my Fiendsmith line. So here you can summon Squirmer on. Again, as you'll see, a common pattern, and that's the point of these, is you're never going to pull these off without interruptions, but you got to understand the patterns so you can adapt when things and see how the board state looks and see what you can go forward and push to see how you know your combos are going to line up. So again, commonly you're going to destroy Rage with Shavara. In almost every combo, you're going to see the same thing. For when you're accessing Varudras, this is the normal way you're going to do it. It's a Yama, summon Spirit, break Spirit, summon Yubel. This gets you your 2 level 10s that you need. But again, you're Fiend Lock, so you have to get rid of that first. So you always go into this Engraver line where you'll summon out Lyri, throw Lyri down. So then you can bring out Sequence. So here I was just trying to see if I could access anything else, but I couldn't get enough level 6s to bring out Caesar. Trying to play new things, seeing if maybe Aerial Eater could bring something out. But again, I couldn't figure out a line at the time. If I ever do, I'll let y'all know. So once you get Shavara into Grave, you're not Fiend Lock anymore. So again, this gets you your level 10s. So you can summon out Varudras. And you have that second one. So you have 2. You have your Omni Decay. You have your, so in case they nib, they should have already, but I have had it where they tried to nib on Varudras. So bringing out Desi, and then you just drop Sequence. So again, looking for those level 6 bodies, you can't really access them. You either get Lacrima or Aerial Eater. You can't get both typically without giving up Desi, and you always want to prioritize Omni Negates. So here in this line, you're going to see the Dark Beckoning Beast line with Spirit. This is very similar to Lotus, except that you can just normal summon Lotus out. But this is a little different and slightly more difficult. Not very much, but you can show you how to end on the total board. So this is a good way of like checking and seeing how you can end on Desi, Varudras, Phantom, Rage Engrave, and Caesar, which is a ton of disruptions, and I think maybe has once been broken for me, mainly because you can save Varudras and Desi for like board breakers and things like that, and then you can use Caesar to kind of disrupt and destroy things, which is very, I feel like, underestimated. The destruction effect of Caesar really goes a long ways because it takes out resources, which I feel like gets forgotten a lot. So again, as you'll see, I left Requiem on so that I can quick activate it if I get nibbed to put Engraver, but minimizing just my total summons at the time. So again, because I know I'm accessing the Varudras line, I have to keep Spirit Engraved for that Yama destruction effect that you saw earlier. So access Engraver, go into Yama, it's the same thing. That's what I really like about this deck, is it's almost like automatic once you understand the lines and everything, and then it makes it really easy to adapt under the time constraints of Master Duel and be able to like pull off different things and go into different lines as you see what resources get affected. So if I know I can summon up to level 10s with Yama and Squirmer and Grave, then I know I can make Varudras. Otherwise, I know I can go into other things and use my other phantoms as bodies, or use them to banish for Aerial Leader. So again, we're going to bring this out. This one, you're going to see me chain a little differently and be very cautious of this. I always send Moon back, mainly because if things get interrupted somehow, having Sequence and Requiem Engrave, I can attach both of those and summon out Doom Dragon for additional bodies. So I always make Muckraker first, and then you're going to see me get that additional body out. So then I can go to Varudras, have that online, and then I have the Light Fiend to make Sequence. So again, you're burning a ton of resources, and you don't have to extend this far. You could stop on the normal Desi Varudras Phantom line, but I tend to find that if your board gets broken, it's really hard. Like, it's usually 10 pi and they're already winning, so I try to maximize my interruptions, and they usually, like, again, I maybe have had it broken once or twice. So you'll see me use this tracked summon again. Again, this always gets that level 6, so then Muckraker can revive another level 6. So there you go, the ultimate Yubel board. Another thing key to note is that Muckraker is to be cautious of the arrow pointing so that you can summon SP. You don't want to lock yourself out by dropping Caesar under Muckraker. So for this next line, I really wanted to cover it because Fuwa and Maxi are running rampant in Master and Rated, and I had to find ways to play around it, so I always play 3 Droll. So this line allows you to use your own Droll to maximize your output while only giving them 2 draws. So you see me summon out the Spirit, which will normally Fuwa. Again, Maxi is a little different. You're going to get a few more summons or draws out of that, but again, you're going to end on a ton of disruptions for minimum draw count. So after I summon out the Yubel and I get the Squirmer in hand, I can draw because I don't need to draw anything else at that point to maximize my return. So again, accessing that Requiem line, going into Engraver. So at this point, you just get additional bodies, and then you can go into your the Yama line. Yep, no, the Sequence line. So once I go into Sequence, this is where it gets a little different, is you're just trying to get max bodies on board. So what I'm doing is using this to summon out and maximize the number of bodies. So then I can access Yama reliably and get enough return out of that. So again, you can't draw Shavara here. I have him in hand, so technically you could extend this further, but again, I'm simulating not drawing anything after Squirmer, so then we can maximize this. So you don't end on any Omnis, but you do end up on Caesar, Phantom, and Rage. So that is 6 disruptions, and I still have a full hand. Alright guys, so the rest of this is just gameplay footage. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the combo line. And if you want me to cover anything else, just leave it in the comments, and please like and subscribe so I can see if I should continue to make Master Duel content. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this game, and it was just a blast, and I hope to share my knowledge as I learn and climb through the Master ranks every season.